You know, it's always a good idea to stay ahead of the curve, especially when it comes to anticipating potential challenges in the future. And one of the most pressing concerns on the horizon for 2024 is the looming food shortages. It's not a matter of if they'll happen, but rather when and how severe they'll be. So, what's your plan to navigate through what could be one of the most challenging periods for global food supply in recent history? Let's face it, the world is facing a confluence of factors that could seriously impact our ability to put food on the table. Climate change is causing extreme weather events, disrupting crop production, and making farming more unpredictable. Supply chain issues and transportation challenges have been highlighted by the recent global events, and they're likely to continue affecting the availability of food. Add in the increasing population, and you've got a recipe for potential food scarcity. So, instead of relying solely on your usual grocery store run, it might be a good idea to consider some strategic planning. Here's a list of 10 items that you might want to think about stocking up on. Number 10. Let's dive into the world of fresh fruits. I mean, seriously, have you taken a look at how unpredictable the weather has been recently? It's been a roller coaster of unseasonal rains one day and unexpected frosts the next. It's like Mother Nature can't make up her mind. And you know what? This weather chaos is wreaking havoc on fruit harvests all across the globe. Take a moment to think about those sunny orange groves in Florida and those picturesque Mediterranean olive orchards. They're not having the best time of it lately. The weather's been throwing curveballs, and as a result, their fruit yields have taken a beating. So, what's the ripple effect of all this fruity drama for us? Brace yourselves. Fruit prices are on the rise. I mean, it's getting to the point where you can't just grab that juicy apple or sweet orange as an innocent snack without glancing at the price tag and contemplating the dent it'll make in your wallet. But it's not just about the money, my friends. This fruit predicament is starting to reshape the way we eat. We're becoming more conscious of what we buy, maybe opting for less expensive fruits or even considering alternatives. Our dietary habits are shifting, and all because of those crazy weather patterns and their impact on fruit production. Who would have thought? Now, let's talk about number 9, the poultry situation. Oh boy, poultry's been through the ringer lately. There's been this worldwide avian flu outbreak, and it's not just any flu, it's a pretty serious one. To get this thing under control, authorities have been resorting to drastic measures, like mass culling of poultry birds. Yup, it's as grim as it sounds. The result? Poultry supplies have been slashed, and you're probably feeling the effects when you stroll through the supermarket aisles. Chicken prices are soaring, and other poultry products aren't faring any better. But guess what? It's not just us regular folks feeling the pinch. Think about those restaurants and fast food joints you used to visit for a crispy fried chicken fix. They're grappling with the same issue. They're either raising their prices to cope with the rising poultry costs, or they're scrambling to find alternative menu items that won't break the bank. Number 8, grains. Now, when we talk about grains, we're not just talking about your regular bread and pasta. We're talking about the whole spectrum: rice, wheat, corn, you name it. These grains form the backbone of many diets worldwide, and they're in a bit of a precarious situation right now. Climate change has been wreaking havoc on crop yields in various regions. Droughts in one place, floods in another. It's like Mother Nature is playing a game of culinary roulette. With supply chains getting disrupted and yields dropping, the price of grains is steadily climbing. Ever noticed how that loaf of bread or your favorite cereal seems to cost more every time you hit the grocery store? Well, it's not your imagination, it's a reality we're all facing. And speaking of bread, let's move on to number 7, baked goods. The rising cost of grains has a ripple effect on everything that's made from them, and that includes your morning bagel or that delicious croissant from your local bakery. The price hikes aren't just about the cost of the ingredients, it's also about the increased expenses for energy, transportation, and labor. Bakeries are having to make some tough decisions, and it's possible that your favorite pastries might become a luxury item in the not-so-distant future. Now on to number 6, dairy products. It's not just about milk and cheese, but also yogurt, butter, and all those delicious dairy-based treats. The dairy industry has faced its fair share of challenges recently. Climate-related issues, increased demand for plant-based alternatives, and even supply chain disruptions have all contributed to the rising costs of dairy products. So, if you're a fan of that creamy latte or cheesy pizza, you might want to savor them while they're still affordable. And moving on to number 5. Seafood. Our beautiful oceans, teeming with life, are facing quite a few hurdles these days. From overfishing to pollution and the looming specter of climate change, our aquatic ecosystems are under siege. These factors are not just impacting the health of our oceans, but are also having a ripple effect on our dinner plates. Seafood prices are on a steady climb, and that plate of succulent sushi, or that weekend seafood extravaganza you used to enjoy, may soon become a rare indulgence rather than a weekly delight. Number 4 on our list is a bit surprising: spices. Those small aromatic jars that give your meals that extra zing are also feeling the pinch. It's not just about flavor, it's about the economics of flavor. Extreme weather events in spice-producing regions, from the arid expanses of India to the lush fields of Indonesia, have wreaked havoc on spice crops. Add to that the supply chain disruptions and the surging costs of transportation, and you've got the perfect recipe for higher spice prices. So, if you love sprinkling a pinch of exotic flavor into your dishes, you might want to consider stocking up on your favorite spices while they're still reasonably priced. Who knows, they could soon become a luxury item in your kitchen. And speaking of flavor, let's not forget about number 3, chocolate. Ah, that delectable treat that has a special place in the hearts of many. But behind the sweet facade lies a not-so-sweet reality. The cocoa industry is grappling with a series of challenges, including disease outbreaks that decimate cocoa plantations, relentless pests that nibble away at precious cocoa beans, and a shortage of labor to tend to these delicate crops. These woes are hitting cocoa production hard, and the cost of chocolate products is on the rise, so that insatiable sweet tooth of yours might end up costing you a bit more in the coming year. A tough pill to swallow for chocoholics indeed. Now we're down to number 2, coffee. Ah, that aromatic, caffeine-packed elixir that kickstarts our mornings. For countless people, it's not just a beverage, it's a daily ritual, a source of comfort, and sometimes even a lifeline. But guess what? Coffee, like many things we hold dear, is facing its own set of challenges. First and foremost, climate change is wreaking havoc on coffee-growing regions around the world. You see, coffee plants are quite finicky. They thrive in specific conditions, including the right temperature, rainfall, and altitude. However, as our planet's climate becomes increasingly unpredictable, these regions are experiencing shifts that are far from ideal for coffee cultivation. Warmer temperatures, irregular rainfall patterns, and the onslaught of pests and diseases are causing reduced yields and lower quality coffee beans. And when you combine these natural challenges with disruptions in the coffee supply chain, thanks to various factors, including the pandemic, it's a recipe for trouble. Now let's talk about demand. Coffee, as you might know, is not just a morning pick-me-up, it's a global obsession. As more people develop a taste for specialty coffee and artisanal blends, the demand for high-quality beans is soaring. With the supply struggling to keep up, it's simple economics. Prices are on the rise. So what does this mean for you, the avid coffee lover? Well, your daily dose of caffeine might start costing you a bit more. That morning brew, once a wallet-friendly indulgence, could become a pricier habit. It's a wake-up call for coffee enthusiasts to savor every sip and appreciate the effort that goes into that cup of liquid gold. Finally, at number 1. Water. Yes, you heard that correctly. We're talking about something even more fundamental than coffee. Water, the lifeblood of our planet, the essence of existence, is facing a crisis of its own. You see, water is not just a beverage, it's a basic necessity for all living things. Yet in many parts of the world, it's becoming increasingly scarce. The reasons behind this growing water crisis are multifaceted and deeply concerning. Droughts, those relentless periods of dryness that can stretch on for years, are becoming more frequent and severe due to climate change. As a result, water sources are drying up, leaving communities and ecosystems parched and struggling. But that's not all. Pollution is another threat to our precious water resources. Contaminants from industrial runoffs, agricultural chemicals, and even household waste are seeping into our rivers, lakes, and aquifers, making clean water a rarity in some areas. And then there's the issue of mismanagement. Inefficiencies in water distribution, wasteful agricultural practices, and poor infrastructure are exacerbating the problem, leading to water scarcity even in regions with ample natural resources. As the demand for water continues to grow, driven by population growth, urbanization, and increased industrialization, the prices of this essential resource are climbing steadily. Access to clean, affordable water is no longer something we can take for granted. It's becoming a significant concern for governments, communities, and individuals alike. So, as we look ahead to 2024, it's clear that food and essential resources are becoming more precious and expensive. It's essential to stay informed, plan wisely, and maybe even consider making some adjustments to your diet and lifestyle. These changes might not just be about saving money, but also about ensuring you and your family have access to the necessities we often take for granted.